Hi, I'm doing this video for a school project. If you're Mr. Smith, I apologize. I had work over the weekend, which really isn't an excuse for turning in a school assignment late. However, I really don't have any other excuses. If you find this on YouTube, good job. Uh, and that's about it. So this is a book review over the novel Grendel, written by John Gardner and published in 1971. Now, Grendel is a kind of retelling and continuation, or prequel, to the epic poem Beowulf, which was written in between the 7th and 10th centuries. So there's a pretty considerable time gap between the two. I have my notes right here. So, but yes, the main interpretation of Grendel has been discussed in class, and the main interpretation can be changed with a reading of the novel Grendel. In the original story, Beowulf, Grendel is a monster that terrorizes the Thanes, attacks their meat hall, and eats their people and livestock. He is described as being impervious to swords. In Grendel, the novel, he's described as being impervious to all edged weapons. But this causes Beowulf to wrestle with him and eventually leads to his defeat and his death. He loses his arm, spoiler alert, I guess, for a story that's thousands of years old. But that's fairly cut and dry. If nobody had ever characterized Grendel any further, we wouldn't have this story, and I wouldn't be making this video. And I am padding the time for this video because I wrote like 2 pages for the script.
Is this like the thing for the theater?
Yeah. Are you in it, or are you gonna see it?
I was trying to see it, but I don't know if it's a glitch. I don't think it's sold out. I was trying to figure out why that's popping up. I don't think it's sold out because they have a button.
Okay. All right. I think they could help you over at the front, or not the front of the building, but like in the cafeteria.
In the cafeteria? Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so the novel Grendel deals with a lot of absurdism and nihilism, which can be kind of a turnoff for some people. But it really isn't too scary if you know what you're dealing with. Like the French author and philosopher Albert Camus, who said that the absurd comes from the struggle to find meaning in an ultimately meaningless life and universe. Basically, we struggle to find meaning, and that's what the absurd is. It's absurd that we should ever find meaning, but that's where we find our meaning. Kind of big brain stuff, you know? Another one of the main views is, like I said, the struggle. He compares it to Sisyphus, the titan of Greek myth, who cheats death and is punished by rolling a stone up a hill forever. He also compares it to Prometheus, another Greek myth of the titan who stole fire from Olympus and gave it to humanity, and was then punished by being chained to a rock and having an eagle eat part of his liver every day. So, you know. So this struggle is definitely prevalent in Grendel, mostly with himself and just trying to find a meaning for himself. One of his meanings that he finds is attacking the mead hall and the Thanes, because, well, without him, they wouldn't need to have a reason to increase their weapons or have better defenses. But then, when he gains his immunity to swords and spears, he just gets bored. I mean, there's no risk to it. He's just doing this thing in and out every day, and it just loses he loses his purpose, he feels. But this does lead to some sporadic behavior by him. For example, when he attacks the meat hall in order to kill Hrothgar's wife Wealhtheow, and the text says, it was what I would be from this day forward, my commitment, my character as long as I lived, and nothing alive or dead could change my mind. I changed my mind. It would be meaningless, killing her, as meaningless as letting her live. It would be, for me, mere pointless pleasure, an illusion of order for this one frail flicker flash in the long dull fall of eternity. I let go her feet. The people stared, unbelieving. I had erected another theory. I left the hall. So essentially, he loses motivation to kill Wealtho because, I mean, there's really no point to it. He's just going through the motions, so to speak. And this really helps characterize him as an antihero because, I mean, he says he follows no rules. There's no order. He just said that, but, I mean, there's multiple cases, especially with his interactions with wildlife, where he seems to have some form of rules or order, especially for himself. And that also is repeated in the story, especially when he goes up to a cliff face and taunts death as if it's something he can control. And then at the end of the book, when he throws himself off of the cliff to escape Beowulf, it says he basically lost control of his body. He couldn't control himself. Now, to Camus, this would be a failed anti-hero because he gave in to the absurd and killed himself. However, there is kind of a loophole where it could be stated that he was simply following the absurd or his predetermined destiny. I'm not really sure. Mr. Smith doesn't exactly like the word fate all that much in this subject. But yeah, that's basically my book review of Grendel. I do want to add that I saw a lot of similarities with The Fiend from Frankenstein and a couple of parallels to Paradise Lost, especially it being an old story told from the perspective of the antagonist. But yes, this should be the end of the video.